I'm still concerned about the detail in here. The problem with detail is if you, especially in small forms, if you overdo it, it looks busy and bad, but still you need some. So I'm just going to add I noticed in my sketch that I have several of these windows much darker. So I'm just going to go back in here and add a few. During my break, I decided I better get into some of these other buildings too, because I shouldn't finish the actual cathedral without judging it in relation to these dark buildings on the side. So I'm just using some pure color in there. So okay, now I'm going to go into this building on the left here, and some cobalt blue. And I'm going to mix on the paper here. And I'm going to try to generalize these buildings and not give too much, but I'm going to have them kind of dark up in this case. Pretend there's a chimney there. Now I'm going to have to tie these buildings in. So right now I'm going to fade down. Now I've got to tie this one into the St. Paul's. Let's fade that away. See, when you don't know exactly when you want to stop, you just make sure you don't have any raggedy edges. That's a little bit, there's a little archway here. Now in the sketch I had warmer color there. I don't want to do much with these buildings. These buildings annoy me. They just don't fit with the church. And maybe a blue door over there. Just again, dry brush is sort of handy. I'm not really a big dry brush fan, but it does work occasionally nicely. There's a bush in here, so I'm just going to suggest that. Not a bush, but maybe a tree. And we're getting down into the base here. And as I said, my original idea, I didn't want this to be very dark in here. That bush isn't working too nicely, is it? When you're painting, you've got to keep your eye constantly on just not only what you're painting, but the things you've recently painted and even other parts of the picture, just to make sure you're always in tune, as I say. Now we're going to have some people in here. People with some bright colors clothes on. Okay, let's add another person in there. That wasn't such a great idea. Okay, some people in here. Now I'm going to thinking that this lady's got a dark jacket on, so I'll use that as a negative shape against Gary's shirt. And there's a red car back there. Okay, I think I'm going to have a break now and see what's happening here. Okay, let's take a little break. This is quite difficult. Okay, let's have a break. Well, I'm still concerned that I shouldn't have put in a tone on the building, and that's something I never do usually. I always keep, never do usually, but anything that's an off-white, I normally keep white paper, and I thought in my sketch this doesn't look, I think this looks better. So, as I mentioned earlier, I sometimes, in emergencies, use opaque white. This is permanent white gouache. So I just thought I'd do a couple of touches in the St. Paul's very quickly. You don't want to overdo this, but I just wondered how this would look. Just a couple of touches. Don't know if it'll make any difference at all, but don't overdo it, Charles, because it'll screw us all up. Once you start using opaque white, you can't stop. But anyway, now let's put in a couple of more people. Now, I said originally that I felt David's were a little mechanical, but I can do the same thing if I don't watch myself. I'm just using just getting a little bleed in here and little cast shadows and pink. That was supposed to be pink. Sometimes that's a little permanent rose. I don't usually use permanent rose, but sometimes for flowers I do, or something like this. No, I think I'll just do a little that stuff, just a little texture. See, when I don't want to when I'm scared to death of overdoing something, I just do a little splashing. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that, and I think one of the important things is that I struggle just as much as you do. No matter how long you've painted, it never gets any easier. I think you can do some things better, but also your standards get higher, so you're always kind of even. You don't. So anyway, I think that is an important part of this tape, that you do see how much I struggle, and that I have the same fight that you do about overworking and not knowing when to stop. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Bye-bye.
Now available to buy. Try these techniques at home whenever you wish. The extended DVD of today's workshop and the book that accompanies this series are now available from the Painting and Drawing channel. For further information and to order your copy, go to www.paintingdrawingchannel.com.